Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. First off, just really quickly, want to thank the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to thank any of you that come by and watch the content. I appreciate your viewership more than you know. If you're so inclined and you have the time, if you could hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it would really help me out. Today I wanted to talk about a knife I bought from White Mountain Knives with my own money. And this knife attracted me because I have the original Raccoon. This is a Vosteed Cutlery Raccoon sheep's foot. It is the same, if I'm not mistaken, 14C 28N. It was, I want to say, around a $65 knife maybe, and that might have been before. It might have been after I put in my Javon 10 code. But I picked this knife up because I was so impressed with the first Vosteed, but I've noticed some differences that really I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. I don't know if it's just my specimen. I've only bought and tried this one knife, but the thing that I've noticed about it, the Vosteed Raccoon was a huge favorite of mine. For a value price knife, I think it punches way above its weight. There was and were some issues of the button locks failing when they were spine whacked in some models, and Vosteed was made aware of that. I don't know if they've totally fixed it, but my copy here, as well as my old copy, don't, they passed the spine whack test. It's solid as a rock. There's no button stick on my version, and the detent somehow is very, very crisp. When I first got this knife, if you guys watched the unboxing, I could barely reverse finger flick it. It has loosened up a little bit, but the crispness of the detent, see, I missed it there because it's so strong. It's undeniably a different feel than this, which this one was not floppy, my OG Raccoon, but at the same time, this one feels much snappier. So there's that. Whether, take it with a grain of salt. I know action is something that is very subjective, but I think the action on this one is special. And then, like my other Vosteed, came very, very sharp. This blade, being a sheep's foot, is kind of my jam anyway. I have no problem with the drop point / spear point, whatever the actual classification of the OG Raccoon would be. But for working through material like paper, like cardboard, I would almost think a lot of EDC type of, what would you call them, material hurdles you might come into contact with. I think this Raccoon sheep's foot is up for the task. I'm a big fan of it. If you look at it next to my original Raccoon, and this is probably, I got this before Blade Show, maybe it's 8-9 months old, where this one just came out, was just released on White Mountain Knives. I had seen it on other channels, but I'd not seen it in the wild, so that's why I picked it up, because this one had impressed me so much. But you can tell that I'm horizontal here. This one will come back, but it doesn't bring itself back into the handle. Where this one, I think it's just a lot stronger mechanism, will bring itself home with just the slightest button release and a little bit of momentum. So yeah, I'm a big fan in the Raccoon, and I think the sheep's foot version, and just so you know, I think they had Vosteed traditional blades, spear points, at White Mountain Knives at the same time on this drop that I wasn't attracted to because I already had one, and at the time I didn't know that the detent would feel different. So if the spear point's more your jam, I think there's some there, and they might have. I'd be curious to see if other people, anyone who's purchased a raccoon recently from Vosteed, if it feels much more refined, I guess is the only way to put it, because the button lock is cash money. The blade shape for me, this tall, flat, black, I don't know if it's PVD coated. I'll put everything that was on White Mountain site when I link it in my description, but I don't know if that's PVD or what that would be coated with. But it is a coated blade. These are also available in Stonewashed blades, if I'm not mistaken. This one has a Micarta handle. It's got inset liners. I think you can see those in there without me getting a flashlight, but let me get a flashlight. It's got skeletonized steel liners tucked way back in there. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not seeing it through the viewfinder. It is kind of a thin knife, no thinner than the OG raccoon, but it's might not be showing you. So I'm sorry if you can't see it, but trust me, they're there. They're inset. That way, this is a very rigid knife. In your hand, it feels there's no flex, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I like this colorway. That's why I picked it up. But again, your jam might be totally different. So let's do a couple of quick size comparisons. The other thing I like to point out on the raccoon before I go there is the grinds are amazingly even from the factory. And that's something that was on the Corgi. That's something, and that's one that Vosteed did send me that I gave away. And on the other raccoon, the sharpening choil is done exceptionally well. You can see where that plunge grind comes back, and you can see all of that space that you could sharpen off if you wanted to. And again, the sheep's foot blade, I really dig. So we'll get some measurements of all that in a sec, but let's do a couple of quick size comparisons. Let's look at it next to the Cold Steel 4Max with the sexy Sawtooth Dave hologrind. And we'll see that the raccoon is smaller than the 4Max. Let's look at it next to the Civivi Baby Banter. It's going to be bigger than the Baby Banter, smaller than the 4Max. Let's look at it next to the Benchmade Bug Out. Right about the same length as the Benchmade Bug Out, guys. That's a regular Bug Out. And this is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So you can see that it is smaller than the Para 2. About the same length as a Benchmade Bug Out. So let's take out our tape measure real quick, and I'll give you guys some measurements. 7.5 inches with a blade of 3 1/4. Cutting edge right under 3 inches, a handle length of right over 4 1/4, under 4 1/2. The area where you can grip the knife if you want this dimension, this inside dimension, so to speak, is going to be 2 3/4. Where I grip the knife to the back of the cutout is right at, we'll say 3 3/4 inches to be safe. And to the back of the handle, if you wanted to have a finger hold off, if you have a big old hand, it's like 4 1/4 from here to here. So again, I think it's a very comfortable medium-sized knife that, again, has really good blade geometry, a nice swedge here on the blade. Let's see what our thickness is going to be on this blade stock. On this 14C, pop, pop, pop. Thin blade stock, 0.1170. I'll try to get you behind the edge, even though we know I'm not capable. 0.0100. And then our handle is going to come in under 1/2 inch, but right under it, 0.46. Which leaves us with, how much does it weigh? 3.15 ounces. Does that mean anything to you guys? I mean, to me, I always see people do it. I know it's information people want that I can share with you from having a knife, you know, objectively. But let me know if that's something that you care about. But I do like giving you dimensions. I used to never do that. I always link that in my description, usually from where I purchased it. But yeah, the detent, much snappier. I love the sheepfoot design. I think from looking at the Nightshade and my now Barlock Nightshade Mini, I'm just under the impression that Vosteed's kind of always up in their game, trying to make cool stuff. And I appreciate them for it. But this is the Raccoon Sheepsfoot Blade. I picked it up at White Mountain Knives. I hope you guys find this informative. Go check them out. I'll put a link to this one, whether it's sold out or not. You can just search on White Mountain site Vosteed Raccoon, and it should pull up all of them that are in stock, because there were a bunch. But guys, thank you for watching the content. Subscribe if you're so inclined. Please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.